Om Namo Narayani. Good morning, good evening, wherever we are all joining in from. As you can see, I'm now in Pedam, and this is our first class right here in Pedam. We are now in our 53rd week. We completed 1 year of Sri Lalitha. Amazing. That 1 year of our journey with Sri Lalitha and the Yagam we've gone through this. And today we will be looking at a 363rd name to 369th name. Let us begin with our prayers. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti-amsāya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti-amma prachodayāt. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti-amsāya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti-amma prachodayāt. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti-amsāya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti-amma prachodayāt. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarvartha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarvartha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarvartha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Gam Ganapatay Namaha. 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinabaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhyanam Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayanam Manikya-maulispurat-taranayaka-shekharam Smita-mukhim Pina-vakshuruham Panibhyam-alipurna-ratna-chashakam Raktotpalam bibhratim Saumyam ratna-ghatastha-rakta-charanam Dhyayit paramambikam Dhyayit padmasanastham Vikasita vadanam Padmapatra yatakshim Himabham pitavastram Karakalita lasat Hema Padmam Varangim Sarvalankarayuktam Satatam Abhayatam Bhaktanam Ram Bhavanim Sri Vidyam Shantamurtim Sakala Suranutam Sarva Sampat Pradatrim Sakumkuma Vilepanāmalika Chumbikasturikam Samandahasite Kshanam Suchara Pasankusam Pasesha Janamohini Marunamalya Bhushojwalam Japa Kusuma Bhasuram Japa Vidhau Smaredam Vikam Arunam Karunatarangitakshim Dhruta Pasankusa Pushpabana Chapam Animadhibhiravrata Mayukhairaha Mityeva Vibhavaye Mahisi. Om Aim Hrim Shreem Om Namo Narayani. Om Shreem Shrimatre Namah Swaha. Om Shreem Shrimatre Namah Swaha. Om Shreem Shrimatre Namah Swaha. Sri Lalitha Narayani's 363rd name. Om Shreem Tat pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. 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 Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, one who is the one referred to by the word Tat. Many of us are familiar with this Mahabhakyam. It's called one of the great Vakyam is a sentence, the phrase Mahabhakyam, Tattvam Asi. And Tattvam Asi is that thou art. So whatever is that totality, whatever is that Brahman, that divine, that totality of the creation, you are that. Why? Because we have the seed of the totality within each one of us. The soul, the life in each one of us is from that one soul that she is, that life form that the mother has given birth to the child. Each of us is a child in that creation, and we carry that source within us. And that Tattvam Asi is that, when they say that, it is the the source, that Brahman, that she is. And here it's talking about tat pada. Pada is the meaning, the entire meaning, the essence, pada-lakṣyārthāyai. When Amma says Lakshmi means one who has the personification of the lakshanas. Lakshanas are each characteristics and in all perfection. So here lakshya, that those characteristics are the meaning, the essence of all that tat padam, that meaning of that tat, the essence of it, the core of it is she. Om Śreem tat pada, the meaning, the essence of tat, that is the whole personification, the characteristics of that tat. It is you, Amma, Sri Lalitha Narayani. So, and this tat, you could see it as the unmanifest Brahman, the core before manifestation happens. Everything from the creation that has manifested from that tat, and she is the essence of all that tat. Her 364th name, Om Śreem Chideka rasa-rūpiṇyai namah swaha. 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 Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is of the nature of pure consciousness. Chid, we saw in the earlier name last week, Chiti, the Chit, Sat-Chit Anandam. That Chit is that awareness, that consciousness, that totality of everything, that presence, that consciousness of that totality of that presence in every moment that spans through the past, present, and future. So that totality of the consciousness, that Chit, Eka is one, rasa-rūpiṇyai. She is the rasam we've seen earlier, is the essence of that Rūpiṇi. She is that form, that rūpam, that form, the essence of that form of the totality of that oneness of that consciousness. So when you go to the divine, how is it that if you've seen masters, enlightened masters, they seem to know a lot of things about you. They can read your mind. They know you understand where you come from, your past, what you're doing now. If you take this, where it will lead you. They can see the past, present, future, the three kalas, all the times, past, present, future. They can see, they know, and they know about you. And thousands of people. You see, Amma, and you go to any master, that they will know a whole lot about you. Why? Because it's in that state of that Chid Eka, that totality of that oneness of that consciousness. Like people say, when you go into deep meditation, as the ego wanes away, the separation that keeps us from connecting to the soul, this ego, this layer, the Maya, the veil, and all these, they are like blocking our view to the inner view, that inner connection to that oneness. Those who go into the deep state, they can connect, they seem to understand what is happening to this person or this event or all that, because they are able to tap into that oneness consciousness. And that oneness consciousness, they are tapping into the totality of that consciousness, that one entirety of that consciousness that she is. Chideka rasa-rūpiṇyai. So she is in that state of that oneness all the time in that consciousness. Her 365th name, Om Śreem svātmānandalavī bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai namah swaha. So this is a longer name. We'll break it up a bit and slowly. Om Śreem svātmānandalavī bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Śreem. Om Śreem svātmānandalavī bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Śreem svātmānandalavī bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai namah swaha. Om Śreem svātmānandalavī bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai namah swaha. Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, a fraction of whose bliss forms the bliss manifested in Brahma and all the others. So, svātmānanda. Swatma is swayam is self. Swatma is that ananda, that bliss that she is inherent in her. It's her itself, that bliss is within her, it's inherent in her. Swatmānanda, that is her bliss. Ananda-lavī bhūta, it's like the salt in the ocean, like she's the totality of that entirety of that bliss. And in that little parts of the salt, you take a drop, there's salt, so many like that parts in that, and little part from that, the bliss of that is equivalent to the bliss that Brahma, the creator, feels. It is little bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai. Santati is that the whole lineage of Brahma, the creation. If it's Brahma, it is Vishnu, Indra, all Ishvara, all of them, each God aspect you see, and then the whole manifestation that comes out of all this, the whole creation, sustenance, the whole entirety of the creation is just little. Each joy, the bliss, Ananda is bliss. Each of that bliss is little tiny speck in her ocean of her svātmānanda. Her Ananda is an ocean, and in that even the bliss that Brahma experiences, the bliss that Vishnu experiences, the bliss that Ishvara, Shiva experiences, in that all in the creation, and all the other gods, Indra, all the devatas, all that, all of humanity, all the sentient beings, if you take each life form, each of the divine forms, the bliss they experience, we experience is like tiny speck, a tiny part from the salt in the ocean, tiny parts of bliss in her svātmānanda, in her entirety of bliss that she is. So it is trying for the mind and the heart to understand, to get an idea, a glimpse of that ocean of bliss that she is. If Brahma's bliss, the one who has created all the creation we see, after he's been given the portfolio and then asked to create, he has created all this. When you create a small thing, how much joy each one of us feels. A child draws something, how much joy comes from that. You create whatever we do in creation, in each individually, we can experience joy in that. It comes out so nice, it's so beautiful, and appreciation, all that. It brings so much joy. And even imagine how much joy Brahma should have for so much creation. And that is just a tiny speck in her ocean of bliss. So it is boundless, endless. So this Brahman, that she is pada-lakṣyārthāyai. So she's that essence of thatness, and thatness, the Satchitananda, is that ocean of bliss, and in that every other thing is, even the demigods, gods, all the devatas, everyone is only one small aspect of her ocean of bliss. What they experience is only like little salt pieces like that. Her 366th name, Om Śreem parāyai namah swaha. 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 Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is the sound in the seed state that has not yet germinated. It is that state of transcendent state, even before the mind can comprehend the beginning of the word, even before it has come to the mind state. So when we see the 36 tattvas, from creation, from the Shiva Shakti union, the manifestation when it starts from her. We see in the earliest form, then Maya comes. After that, all the mind, ego, all that comes only after that. The ego and that. Before that, it's even more subtle because it's like if you go back to that example of the totipotential cell to the individualized cell, even in the body's creation, the ovum is formed and a single cell is multiplying into so many cells, and each one is getting differentiated into its different functions, into organs and organ systems, the tissues, each cell. But in the single cell is the totality. In the initial stage, it's totipotential. From each cell, any tissue, any organ can develop. And then it kind of differentiates, and from there its specialization happens, and then it specializes into its function. So in the totality state, even before the differentiations that happen at that earlier states in the creation, the sound is in that seed form like that. This differentiation, the words haven't come out yet. It hasn't even germinated. It's in that seed state. And that seed state of that sound is called para. The name is very simple. She is para. The depth to this meaning, as we see the other forms of this sound, is huge. It is transcendent because it's beyond the state of the mind. The word hasn't even formed, the sound hasn't formed. The seed is there, but it hasn't even germinated. The transcendent word above the other stages of speech, like we are talking, the speech that is coming is the grossest form. It's manifested, but before it forms every speech, the sound that comes, it has come from that para. She is that para. From that parāyai, the unmanifest, it manifests, and from there to the subtle, and then it takes its journey to become the grossest form of the sound. We can relate it to material things. Here we're talking about the sound, the speech. And what are the stages? The para is that beginning stage with the seed. And then it becomes the next stage of Pasyanti, then the next stage of Madhyama, and then the Vaikhari. Vaikhari is the what we can hear and listen. What I'm talking now is in the Vaikhari state. And what anyone talks, once it comes out from the throat, it is manifested in the fullest, grossest form. But in the earlier stages, the first stage where the sound starts from is the para state. And what are these states? And we will see these other stages also coming in. It is the supreme highest form of speech is para. It is called para-bach. Bach is speech. Like Bach Devati is Saraswati, Bach is the speech form. The para-bach is her. She is the para. The primeval, the earlier stages we had mentioned. And then the next stage is the Pasyanti. And there the sound comes to, we will again, it at the microcosm level, we see it at the chakra levels. Pasyanti, the seed has started germinating. And in Madhyama, the leaves are beginning to come out. And Vaikhari is when it's fully blossomed, grown into a tree with flowers, fruits, it's in full expression. So that's how the sound forms from the seed, germinates, grows into a sapling, into a full manifest tree. And this is for every sound we make. Can you imagine so much depth and power to this voice, the sound each one of us is bestowed with? They say word is so powerful, and when each individual gets purer and purer, that power in that word is so powerful, it starts manifesting. And at that time, the mind has to be pure. It is the process in the yoga. So what you say will start manifesting. And so we should be careful with what you say. Your words have to be blessings. So it has to be pure. To whatever you say should only bring beneficence, good around you. So that word, that vach, is such a powerful gift that each of us is blessed with. And the next stage, it's para, from para. Amma also says para is another, like we'll go back into the sound, but this para, another connotation, the explanation is the para is outside. Amma says like para shakti, adi para shakti. So adi is the first, para is that everything outside. What is inside is one thing, what is outside, everything outside is the para, that expands the totality in the whole of the creation. Para Shakti, she is everywhere. So again, this comes from that totality that she is, the beginning state that everything manifests from that para. And here in this context, the para is with reference to the sound. But as you go deeper into the meaning, there's so much more to it. Like when you're going into the references of the chakras, the para vach, the para, she is Om Śreem parāyai namah, namah swaha. The para is in the Kundalini. And the Pasyanti, the next stage where it is just beginning to germinate, it's in the Manipura chakra. And then when it's in the Madhyama, it is that sound has grown into the sapling, it's in the Anahata, and Vaikhari is in the Vishuddhi where it has fully manifested. From the throat, the voice is coming out, the sound is being produced, the Shabda Brahman has come. So again, when we go into these processes of what are the subtleties in this, from the beginning of creation, where going back to the source and everything is in an unmanifest state. And in that unmanifest state, the processes start happening. And then the creation evolves, begins to develop till it becomes the grossest form that we can all relate to. And in the unmanifest state, it is the abhyakta. And in the abhyakta, so in that state, what we call unmanifest state, this para vach, the para, this energy, if you're looking at it in the individual forms, in the human form, this is in the Kundalini. So in the Muladhara, in the Kundalini state, in the Muladhara. Here says there, the karma, like we each individual souls, we bring in our baggage of karma, the good, bad, whatever it is, the impressions we are bringing from our experiences. And this karma in the energetic form, in the subtle form, is in the form of karma bindu. Bindu we've seen as the dot. There are references again. It's called karma bindu. Karma is the action. It becomes a karana bindu. Karana is the cause for the actions. The cause, karana bindu, karma bindu. And this is in the first step. And then the karana bindu, then it becomes karya bindu. Then from that we start doing things and create more karma. The karya bindu comes in the second step. And in the third step, it becomes the nada bindu. Nada is the sound. And you would hear this nada bindu again repeatedly in many songs, because it is the nadam and the bindu combination, the Shiva Shakti, that is again the source. And here it's in fact described as from the karana, karya, and then it's nada. It's like from the subtlest to the less, little bit cross, a little bit cross. It's nowhere near the gross. It's still in the shades of subtleness, in that finest subtleness to the grosser subtleness. It's still in that state. And then from the nada bindu, so the nada brahmam, we call it nada brahmam, the sound form of brahmam. And from there, the akshara bijam comes. So the mantras, the akshara bijams we have from the sound, and that is manifest from the nada bindu, which manifests from the karya bindu, which manifests from the karana bindu, and from the source of the para, she is. From there, all this comes, and then the akshara bijam comes, and from the akshara bijam, the whole gross manifestations we see happens. So before what we see in the gross form, so much of subtle processes, actions have already happened. And even it says starts with the sound. Again, there is another explanation or a way of looking at it is the para is Om Bhu Bhuva Suvaha. Om is equated to the para, Bhuva is to Pasyanti, Bhuvaha to Madhyama, Suvaha to Vaikhari. So these are so many ways of looking at that, the essence of that para, that she is from her this sound emanates. And we also have the other stages, the same para is the three stages of para, para, and apara. So here the para is equated to the Shiva form. The para is the potential has now become para, the kinetic form, the Shakti. And from there, the apara is now it's become the Nara. Nara means human form. So from that source, the manifestation has happened, and the human form, from the macrocosm to the microcosmic manifestation that has happened. So one simple name with tremendous depth. So there is so many deep meaning to these names. We can grasp whatever little we can. If we can't grasp it, it is all right. Just saying the para makes her, she's in bliss. She takes the child's chanting of Om Śreem, parāyai namah swaha. It gives that love, that connection is enough. This is all for the understanding of the mind, the intellect, but with that, just with the devotion, if you say it, you connect with her from her blessings. Her 367th name, Om Śreem Pratyakshiti Rūpāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Pratyakshiti Rūpāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Pratyakshiti Rūpāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, form of consciousness turned inward. And that inward consciousness is when the reality is still in the unmanifest stage. Chiti, we've seen that Chiti, Chitta Akasha. Actually, Chitta Akasha, the Chit is that consciousness, the space, and that's Chitta Akasha, we say. There is another word for it, because earlier also we've been coming across Chit as her name in the form of Chit, Chidananda, Chit, and earlier Chiti, Chiteka. So there is this place that's referred to in one of the very holy places in South India is called Chidambaram. It comes from Chit Ambaram. Ambaram is space. So Chit Akasha, that's consciousness that is everywhere. So it is like spread out. It's like the ether element, Akasha, because there is no grossness to it. It's so all-pervading. So Chit Akasha and Chit Ambaram. So Ambaram is that, it's a space, Chit Ambaram. And it is one of the very holy places for Shiva, Shivalingam. And this is, I don't know if we mentioned earlier, there are 5 very sacred, of course, there are hundreds and thousands of very sacred places in India, 1,000, innumerable, even 1,000 is a tiny speck. It has such ancient, it's been there for so long, so many sacred places, innumerable. So it's like if you go to a gold mine, everywhere you see is gold. So you can't say here, there, everywhere you turn around is gold. Like that, there are so many sacred places in India. And in that again, these 5 are often referred to of Shiva's temples, Shiva's place of energy, that represent the 5 Panchabhutas, the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space. And it says, Kanchipuram, we mentioned Kanchi in our last class, Kanchi. And Kanchipuram, the Shiva there is in the earth form. And there are, even in Kanchipuram, apart from the temple where Shiva is represents the earth form, there are so many ancient temples. Like they run into millenniums. We are looking at it from millenniums, but they run into yugas. So it is like more than that. In our time reference, we are looking at it from what our references can be. So the Kanchi has the earth form of Shiva in the temple. And there is another Thiruvanekavu where he's in the water element. So this Shiva Lingam is submerged in water because from him keeps the spring, water keeps springing out. There is a spring there. And he's always submerged in the water and it keeps flowing because he's in that water form there. It is in the Garbhagraham, in the Sannidhi, in the Sanctum Sanctorum. The Shiva Lingam is always submerged in water because from there the water springs forth. He's in the water form. And then in Thiruvannamalai, it's again a very sacred place. He's in the fire form. Each place has so many Puranic stories with so much of depth and wisdom to it, and so many enlightened masters, sages go there. And Thiruvannamalai, they say, some of the masters say, I won't even step there because that ground has millions of Shiva Lingam under the earth. I will be walking on Shiva. How can I do that? So that is from the devotion of the devotee. But some they don't mind. Like a child goes to the mother, it doesn't matter. The child doesn't look at the mother's, my empress, how can I go to the empress? It's my mother, I will go to her. Like that, the devotion from the devotee draws to the divine and clears all the barrings and obstacles. So in Thiruvannamalai, he's in the fire form. And there are stories of Brahma and Vishnu, how they try to measure the beginning and end of Shiva's form, and both of them fail. They cannot see where he begins, where he ends. Both of them fail in that process because you're going to the totality. How can you measure totality, the infinity? And in one of the places on the way to Tirupati, there is the Vayu form of Shiva in that temple. Even if it is so still, the flame keeps flickering. There is no window, no air. It is like stillness there. But because the Shiva Linga is the Vayu form, the air form, from the Shiva Lingam, the air emanates and the flame keeps flickering. And he's in the Vayu form. And in Chidambaram, Ambaram is Akasha. So Chit Ambaram, he is in that space form, totality. And one of the great saints in Tirumular, his Samadhi is in that place. Like each of these, many of these places also have the Samadhi of many, many great masters. So they're like Patanjali is in one of the places, Ramanuja, like in these temples you have their Samadhi. So what I mentioned up here is Chit Ambaram, bringing us back to Pratyak Chiti Rūpāyai. This consciousness is turned inward. This consciousness that fills the entire space, the totality, space is ever expansive. There is no, space is one of the 5 elements, and it forms the whole screen in which all the other things are manifested or placed. So it provides a space for things to materialize. So our mind provides the screen, the space for all the thoughts. Like here, the Chit Ambaram, the Chit Akasha that she is, it is, you can think all that, all the manifestations from inward that we express outside is coming from that Chit area. And here, she's Pratyak Chiti Rupa, where this consciousness is turned inward. Like when you go into deep meditation with that awareness, that consciousness, you are like inside. Your thoughts and vision, is not looking at the outside world. Like in meditation, you're dropping the thoughts, you connect to the inside. And in that form, there is always this consciousness. There is, even though we say unconscious state for the human physical realm, in that unconscious state, that deep consciousness is still there. It's aware. Even people who go through anesthesia and other things, people go through near-death experiences, the consciousness is something deep inside that is there, and it can see a lot of things, connect more at that time. Lalita here is Pratyak Chiti Rupa. She is the form of consciousness that's turned inward when there is no manifestation that has happened. It is still in a highly unmanifested state. And in that form, her consciousness alone is there. And that consciousness is turned inward. And only from that, the manifestation happens. Manifestations for the whole of creation happens. Her 368th name, Śreem Pasyanti namah swaha. 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 Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is the second stage in the development of sound, Pasyanti, that is speech in the inaudible state. So we saw the para, the seed, unmanifest. Pasyanti is just, the sound is just beginning to germinate. The shoots are just beginning to sprout from the seed, Pasyanti. And from this Kundalini, the sound form has, if you're looking at the chakra, it's come to the Manipura at that level. And it's still in the inaudible state. Only when it comes to the Vaikhari, it becomes audible. So it's still in the inaudible state. you might, some of us have experienced, like when we go in front of masters, they read your mind. Before you ask your question, they know what you've come for and they know what you want. It's like your mind may have so many different questions and it's like they read your mind because they are so tuned in to that subtlety of the sound. Even though we haven't spoken yet, for us, we can hear only when we speak aloud. We don't read people's mind. It has to be spoken and then they hear, and then most of us, that's how we interact, communicate. But with the masters, it doesn't have to be said. Even in the inaudible stage, Pasyanti, Madhyama, in the stillness, they hear you. They can read your minds. They hear your mind. They hear your questions. They hear your conversations, because in the stillness, in that state, already conversation happens. But for us, it has to be verbalized. So when you go to Shakti Amma or the masters, it's like we want to say everything. We want to hear. All our transactions, communications are in the grossest form, which is Vaikhari. We have to say it to say it. There is this one of our divine forms called Dakshinamurti. It's a Shiva form, and he's the primordial teacher, they say, but every primordial comes from the utmost primordial that she is. So Dakshinamurti teaches in silence. He faces, this form of Shiva form faces south. And he has his disciples sitting in front of him. So classes go on, they learn. What do they learn? They sit in silence in front of the master, and what each needs to learn just happens in that silence, stillness. So there is no audible talk. Here we have so much of talking to communicate. As if you go to Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, many beings, humans were in that still form where we didn't need so much of voice, expressed voice. So in that stillness, people could communicate because they could imbibe what is being said that much more easily. And to receive that teaching in silence, a disciple also has to come to that level of grasping it. If our mind is loud and churning, we cannot receive it, even though if it is given in silence. So the disciple, the student also has to reach that level to receive that. Here, she is Pasyanti. We saw she is Para, she is Pasyanti, the second stage, and the sound hasn't come out yet. It's still in the subtle form. Her 369th name, Om Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. 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 Om Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is Paradevata. Here the para, like Paramatma, Paramananda, it is like that ultimate. Here the para is like at the beginning, the totality that encompasses everything, like Brahman is totality. The para is another attributes, the qualities when we refer to the Brahman form of earth. So para devata, devata, devam is the divine. She is the ultimate of the divine. So every other divine, it's all from her. The foremost, the supreme divine, the object of supreme adoration. So what is this devotion when we have this gift of devotion to the divine, that is adoring the divine? And this blessing, when you connect to whichever form of the divine, if you're drawn to this form, this form, this form, ultimately, even if we worship this form, it is the ultimately it is only her in all the various forms. She is the totality. So because as we've seen, every form of the divine has manifested from her. If she is that totality, that gem, each form is one facet of that gem. It is still her only. And she is the Paradevata, the ultimate divine is she, Sri Lalitha Narayani. And we've seen it in various different forms, in various different names, and it never tires. And with the mantras that are imbibed into all these, it is coming in various forms, but with the understanding more subtleties in that depth, in that beauty to describe a divine that cannot be described. Before we go to the questions, can we do the chanting for the names for today, for this week? All of them are kind of easy, except for one, you need a little bit more practice, the 365. Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. Śreem rasa-rūpiṇyai namah swaha. Śreem rasa-rūpiṇyai namah swaha. Śreem rasa-rūpiṇyai namah swaha. Śreem svātmānandalavī bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai namah swaha. Śreem svātmānandalavī bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai namah swaha. Śreem svātmānandalavī bhūta-brahmādyānanda-santatyai namah swaha. Śreem parāyai namah swaha. Śreem parāyai namah swaha. Śreem parāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem pratyakshitī-rūpāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem pratyakshitī-rūpāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem pratyakshitī-rūpāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Pasyantyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Pasyantyai namah swaha. Om Śreem Pasyantyai namah swaha. Om Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem pada-lakṣyārthāyai namah swaha. Om Śreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, the Paradevata. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive Sarvārtha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Namah Swaha. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive Sarvārtha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Namah Swaha. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive Sarvārtha-sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Swaha. Let us offer our chants, our prayers to Sri Lalitha Narayani, our love, our adoration, our devotion to her, seeking her blessings, her grace for all of us, all our loved ones, all of humanity, all the sentient beings, Mother Nature, the whole of Mother Earth, and in all the worlds, to receive her grace, blessings, for all of us to have this wisdom of karma, thinking good, speaking good, doing good, to receive this gift of devotion for the divine, this gift of seva and surrender to the divine, to connect with the divine within us, to connect with the divine within each other, to connect with the divine in the whole of the creation, to always be in the state of the soulful qualities of love, peace, joy, abundance, all the soulful qualities, gratitude, bliss, laughter, all her blessings for the whole of Mother Earth and all the worlds and all the beings. Om Namo Narayani. There's some questions. Mary, do you want to ask it or type it? Is consciousness turned inward and Kundalini the same? How do mudras move energy with sound? These are so many subtleties, and I don't think the consciousness is all pervading. If you're looking at it from the para state that she is, everything is in that state of consciousness. It provides the screen, the chit akasha, the consciousness provides the screen for everything from thought, word, deed, from the grossest materials to the subtlest form, for it to manifest. Like you have the movie screen and all these projections on that. The chit akasha, the consciousness is the screen for which it provides a screen for all this to manifest. So when it is turned inward, this consciousness is all pervading. So in that state, you can that experience and that stillness, every subtlety of all the happenings within us, everywhere, not just within each one, in the whole of the creation, the whole is possible to experience that. Like we saw earlier, science needs the experiments, whereas spirituality is based on experience. It's in that subtle state, in that stillness. It means the stillness is you don't do anything, but in that state, you're able to experience every other activity. When you're still, then you can perceive other activities. When we are so busy, we are so caught up with our own busyness, we are not able to perceive the other activities because it's very cluttered. This takes away all the energy for that. Kundalini, like we saw, it is in the unmanifest state, the avyakta, the karana. Bindu, it says, is in the state of Kundalini. So again, these are subtleties. And in the yoga, the process is to raise this Kundalini energy to the Sahasrara. So each step in that process of evolution. And this consciousness is all pervading. Is it only in the Kundalini? It's more than there. It is present everywhere. So if there is one, give me a moment. I wanted to locate something Amma said. I will see if I can get the book and locate it. Just one moment. So again, there are this going into the subtleties. There is the antakarana, the ego, the hankara, the chit, the mind, the ego. These are all again subtleties in these are called the inner tools we have, antakarana. The external tools are the sense organs we have, and they relate to the panchabhuta. So the senses are more grosser, and for us, the vision, sight, sound, all these are still subtle for us, but these are the grosser forms of it. And antakarana of the ego, manu, buddhya, ahankara, chitta, and that conscious state, chitta. And there is a song on Shiva, manu, buddhya, ahankara, chittani naham. I'm not any of these. I'm not the manas, I'm not the buddhi, I'm not the ahankara, I'm not the manu, buddhya, ahankara, chittani naham. Even the chitta, I'm not that. It's talking the Brahman state, the Brahman that she is, Tat. She is that Tat, essence of that Tat, Tat Pada. So all these are in the form after the manifestation these happen. So when talking about the mind and the consciousness, and is Kundalini the same? The mind is much more in this Volume 4, Mind the Storage Box. Mama saying, generally we all think the mind means something in the brain. The brain is also an organ. It is interlinked. Every organ in our body is interlinked with other organs. So if you say the brain is something related to the mind, then it needs the support of the heart, it needs the support of the kidneys, it needs the support of the liver. So then where is this mind? So the exact definition of the mind is when this body experiences so many things, all the experiences our brain carries and holds, that stage is called the mind. It doesn't create in one place the experience of the body. For example, if we see something, even after a few hours, we can recall that thing. So the experience of whatever we received is then stored in one place. That place is called the mind. Because of that, it needs help. For the rest of the things which are in auto mode, they don't need any help because it is controlled by nature. She's saying the physical body runs on its own. It is auto. It's on auto mode. It's controlled by nature. Nature means divine. When it is controlled by the divine, it means it knows how to do, how to work, and everything. But this mind and its experiences, it's only a collection of all our experiences. It stays. That stage is called the mind. It doesn't stay here, here, or here. Amma points to various parts of Amma's body. It is just the experiences that we go through. We store those things, all of our memories, the good and the bad. So it is like a pool. We put everything in there, and then once we stop thinking of anything, then from that pool, it comes out and it blooms. It can bring anything from that pool. It can bring the nice fragrance, or it can bring the dirty smell. It is based on what we store in that pool. So the place where we store all our experiences and memories is called the mind. And I was talking a bit more. It says, she says, since it's in our atmosphere and since we are creating that atmosphere, it needs help. For example, if we see something good, that good memory stays with us for a long time. So then that pool is filled with good memories. Even when we forget about that, still from that pool, these good memories will come to us as good thoughts. So those good thoughts make us to do good things. The good actions bring good karma. So the good karma brings good fortune. So the best way to keep our mind in a good position is spirituality. Earlier, Amma was talking about in this, the body, each organ doesn't need any help or support from the person. It knows what it needs to do and it will do it by itself. In fact, all the organs help and support the human form. The lungs help to remove the toxins and take in fresh oxygen. And from this oxygen, the body receives the energy. So if you look very deep, all the organs protect one from bad things. If something bad is taken into the body, our body will just throw it away. Even sneezing, we sneeze. Many people think it is disease, but it is not a disease. It is the system of nature that it doesn't allow something bad to be taken in. When we take some foreign particles come, it gives a signal to the body to throw it out. That's why we are sneezing. Sometimes karma can also be like that. Every organ of the body does good things. So then, where does the body need help? The body doesn't need any help anywhere, but our mind needs help. From top to bottom, the body doesn't need help. It can do everything in a perfect way. Only the human mind needs help. And what is this mind? Where does it stay in the body? It seems to be in the brain, but I don't think that is the whole answer. And then we read what she said, where the mind is a store of all these experiences. So this consciousness is that subtle state where all these impressions we perceive and the mind processes it, the buddhi processes it, the ego, all these have their roles. These are the antakarana, the inner tools that are used in our life to process things, how we experience, how we interpret it, how we store it. And Kundalini is that stored energy of hers which rises up. The buddhi, ahankara, chitta, all that in the realm of the antakarna, it is more pervasive. Whereas the Kundalini is that source, that path. If she rises up, serpent power, from her energy, that self-effulgent energy that she is, it just blazes that light and purifies everything along in the process. So it is part of the functioning, and this is like an essence. They are not exactly the consciousness turned inward and Kundalini the same. But this consciousness work with the Kundalini, with the breath, and all these together work in synchronicity in that path of the Shiva Shakti union, which is the ultimate in this achievement and possibility of this human birth. I hope that explains to some extent what you're asking. How do mudras move energy with sound? Mudras are like your certain placements, like the chin mudra. It's like closing a certain circuit, like you switch on and then the light comes on, the fan comes on, the appliance starts working. Mudras they connect or close the circuit for certain pathways. Like we describe the body with 72,000 nadi pathways, energy pathways. And these nadis pathways are from the hub of each of the chakras. So the masters see us as energy body and this light. So they are not really connected with the physical form. The physical form is a wonderful gift to sustain, for us to be grounded on this earth that we are in, wherever each being is in. It's an opportunity for that experience and for the evolution in each birth form. And these mudras help to connect certain circuits, whichever path you want. Like if you want to do this task, then you have to focus your energies and your skills and developments for that task. If you want to do some other task, it needs another focus of energy. So time, effort, energy, and the skills towards that. So there are zillions of different tasks. So these mudras can channelize those energies in different ways, depending on what purpose you want. Like we can do regular for maintaining health, can do it for going deeper inside, can do it for expressing outside to achieve something in the external world, internal world. There's so many mudras and so much of subtleties in that. It goes with the breath always. And breath is very important because you're channelizing that energy to where and how you want to use it. With the sound, then are you saying mantra? If you're combining mudra and mantra, I didn't catch, how do mudras move energy with sound? So just doing mudra by itself already is doing its work. And even then, people say before you do certain mudras, you need to do certain processes because the body, mind have to sit down to be able to hold that energy, to settle in. If it's scattered or physically, there's so much pain, distraction, busy with indigestion or whatever, you can't, even if you do it, you will not receive the benefit because the system is not able to receive it or process it. When you're saying with the sound, sometimes we do the mudras with the chanting of the mantra silently or aloud, then we are combining also the mantra energy with it. So these are more and more subtleties and depths to this. I hope this answers your questions. Okay. Yeah. Good. Question on day 368. Pasyanti. Is the development of sound Pasyanti related to sacred sound and bhakti yoga? A lot of this term is often related to sound yoga. this sound yoga, do they mean the mantras? Because the beach mantras and other sounds, because so the mantras. So we are using the beach and the power of the beach with the postures. So along with the breath and the sound and the postures, we are like directing, nourishing, enhancing certain aspects, or even flushing out, clearing out. So it does the detox, nourishment, many levels. On day 368, which is Śreem Pasyanti namah swaha, related to sacred sound. All of these are related to sacred sound. The whole of the Sahasranamam, each namam is sacred sound. And so many of these Sahasranamam, so many scriptures with all these different shlokas, mantras, like Sri Suktam, Durga Suktam, Meda Suktam, they're all sacred sound. The Vedas are sacred sound. So many of these are, we saw, I don't know if you listen to the talk on chakras that's on Green Shakti, there are two parts. We're looking at each chakra energetically. The masters who have experienced it describe the various petals, 4, 6, 10, 16, 12, 2, different for the chakras. And each of them have the beej mantra. Each chakra we saw, namah, shivaya, are all the beej mantras of each chakra. And each of those petals have each beej mantras. All these are the alphabets of Sanskrit. Like A to Z is the English alphabets. All these are the alphabets of the Sanskrit. So each of these is beej mantra, and often Sanskrit is referred to as Deva Bhasha, the language of the Devas, because it is composed of, my understanding, only of beej mantras. So anything from beej can produce only good. So there is nothing bad that can come out of it. Just saying these chants or these names is sacred sound, because every Sanskrit alphabet is a beej mantra. So only the sacred sound can come out of that language. All these chants are only sacred sound. And there are meters to it, how to chant it, which pronunciation, which to break. And there are the teachings that are given in those things. But all these are sacred sound. And yoga doesn't necessarily have to be, when you go into, like Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there are other masters are given other Yoga Sutras as well. Right now, we are all only familiar with Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So there are, like I mentioned, other Siddhas have given also Yoga Sutra, and it combines the physical aspect of it, Yamani, the 8 limbs as we are familiar with, and whoever is into yoga. One is preparing the body. And why are we preparing the body, the asanas? To prepare the mind. So it is like purifying it, to getting it into that fine point to receive that energy. All these processes are geared towards that. Om Namo Narayani. We had a longer class today. I thought it would be short, but it's gone on long. Sorry. We can end the recording, Bhagya.